y'all, never mind me.
Hey everybody, I was thinking about during this time of the year, the holiday season, thinking about, of course, for me and people who are Christian or Jewish people or people who are just believers in general in Jesus and the God triune and all of that. Time of the year is the time that we choose to celebrate the birth of Christ, and we choose to celebrate that believing that Jesus was born with a specific purpose, and that is to redeem mankind from sin and to make us acceptable unto God once again by his life, his death, and his resurrection, what we believe. But what I was thinking about today during this time of the year, I was really thinking about the example of Jesus, not just what he came to do, which is imperatively important, but the example. And I thought about it on a bunch of different angles, and of course over my lifetime I've heard a ton of different messages about Jesus and his ministry and his life, and a bunch of different articles, books, and testimonials about interactions with Jesus. But I was thinking about Jesus as an example for social justice, and how what was pointed out earlier in the Bible, in the Old Testament, even before Jesus's birth, was God attempting to make Adam and Eve, and later on the children of Israel, to make them as a people, a just people, a people that were fair, a people that were honest, a people that were kind to one another, a people that were kind to the strangers, kind to the widows, kind to the foreigners, the alien, people that were from other countries that came into the territories occupied by the children of Israel. And time again, the children of Israel failed, and time again, God made a plan to reach out to them, to redeem them as a people, that family, that lineage of Abraham. And after the exile, the Babylonian exile, you read about how God began to say that I'm not gonna have my spirit in the temple or in tents or anything. I'm gonna put it inside of men, I believe it was at that point. But what Jesus did was showed us in example how that person would be, how that person would interact with other people, how he interacted with the tax collectors, how he interacted with the woman at the well. And what I think most want to think about that story specifically is that he would have been well within his rights to declare all that the woman had done from a sin perspective, all that she had done and all that she had, failed according to the law at that time. And he didn't. He spoke to the woman, and she mentioned something about her husband, and he told her that she had 5 husbands, and began to lay out the story for her. And it was very interesting, because at any moment in time, he could have been well within his rights to just dismiss her, but he didn't. And I was thinking mostly about how we can use his example in our everyday lives, because his example was not one of doing things that was impossible for anyone else to do, I believe. And I believe that even in regard to the miracles, because he even said to the disciples, greater works than these shall ye do in my name. So everything that they saw him do, he said even greater things that they would do in his name. And in my lifetime, I haven't seen the greater things, or I haven't been aware of the greater things, but I do believe that people have done those or greater things, because if they didn't, then that would make him a liar, and I don't believe him to be a liar. But the example that I love is one that I kind of equate to how people treat each other around the holiday season. It was one of changing how you approach the situation, not necessarily changing people, because he didn't go around scrambling people's minds. He changed the way he treated people as an individual. And I think that example of changing how we treat people as individuals is one of the best ways that we can A, emulate his example and his ministry, and B, change the world around us. I think that his example was a phenomenal roadmap on how to bring heaven on earth, that you can change people one at a time, and it starts with you. It starts with how you treat people, how you approach situations. It starts with how you think about situations, and even how you address things that are good or evil, or not. Well, we won't say evil. How you address things that are good or not good for you in your everyday life. And many people would have said, as they did say, that Jesus teaching on the Sabbath was a bad thing, and he shouldn't do that, and how they wanted him to stone the woman, and he wouldn't stone the woman. And it was alluded that Jesus said when they asked him to stone the woman, let him without sin cast the first stone. And many people believe that it was Jesus's way of saying that all have sinned, and we can forgive her and restore her and keep moving on. And even others have said that her sin, which was adultery, all the other people who were accusing her were guilty of that as well. So they were, again, on a more direct level, unable to cast a stone because they had done the very same thing. And I think his example was such a profound way to live a life that was selfless, to live a life that was not a separatist life. He was found in the company of people that many people would think that, if you're around those people, you're a bad person, because there's nothing redeemable in those people. The tax collector and the different people, there's nothing redeemable about these people. The sick people, there's nothing redeemable. What is done is done. And he set an example by saying that not only is there value in these people, but they are redeemable, and you can reach them by not bashing them. You can reach them by reaching out to them, by being there, by not being afraid to be in their presence, by being who you are, not conforming, being very much who you are in fullness, and reaching out to those people who need a hand. And I think that that's a profound example, especially when I think of the holiday season. That's what I think of. That's what I love most about it, because people are more like this Christ example, more accommodating. They're more apt to give, to be selfless. They're more apt to be forgiving in most cases. They're more apt to be open to people who you thought were irredeemable to become valid and to be worth something. The people, the poor people and the hungry people and the children and the widows, at this time of year, people look out for them. And especially in the state like Wisconsin here, when it gets cold, there are tons of programs that offer coats, that offer help with paying your utility bills so you can keep the power on and the heat on. The shelters, they do as much as they can. I know they run max capacity, but then sometimes church is open, or sometimes other facilities are open just so people aren't on the street. And I know that the police do patrols from time to time, just looking for homeless people to make sure that there's not a case where people freeze to death on the street. So I think that even at this time of year, just it feels good to see people being kind to one another. But I know for me, I equate that directly to the example that Christ laid for us, the example that we can be a better version of humanity. We can be a more perfect version of what we were created to be, and that's helpers one to another, helpers for big things as well as small things. And that's why I enjoy the Christmas season. It's not about the giving gifts, even though I think that that's phenomenal, because it's another way for us to put into practice the example of being selfless, to give of ourselves, to give gifts, to share all things with one another. A lot of the things that Jesus did was commune with people, have conversations with people, break bread with people, literally, and eat with people, literally, to show people that you matter. There is something valuable in the human contact and the human interaction that we have with one another, that we offer one another, that we can give each other. That I don't think you can replace any other way. And I think that that's such a phenomenal lesson to have left, apart from all the other lessons that he taught. Just that example that he left of, we can work together. We can make the world a better place, not by grand changes and by war and by, destruction, but by reaching out to one another, being kind to one another consistently, being fair to one another consistently, being just to one another consistently. And I think that if we're able to do that, then we can change the world. Even if the world that we change is the world that encompasses us, the people that we interact, our personal world, our little section of the world. Even if it's not the world as a whole, that's how you can change. That's the biggest change that you can make. You can change you and spread that out to other people. Be kind to everyone in your circle. Be kind to the people that a couple years ago you may not have been kind to. Forgive people that have, wronged you. Ask for forgiveness when you have the opportunity for people you may have wronged. Have a clear slate. And I think that's part of the example that Jesus laid. So I'm thankful for that during this holiday season, that there was an example laid out for me and for everyone that we can follow. And that's an even greater part of the gift of his birth. So I can celebrate that at Christmas time, but not just at Christmas time, throughout the entire year. But it feels even better to know that there are other people at this time of year who are doing the exact same thing, who are spreading that goodness, who are spreading that kindness, who are spreading that infectious love, that love that says that I know exactly what you did, or I know exactly what you deserve, but instead of giving you what you deserve, I'll give you what you need, which is forgiveness, restoration, and a chance to move on, chance to be whole, a chance to be completed again, to know that yes, you made a mistake, but the mistake isn't you are not the mistake. You are not trash because of the action that you took that was wrong. There's hope for you, but in order to receive that hope, all you have to do is receive what I'm telling you. Receive the forgiveness and receive the restoration, and don't do it again. Pursue forward. Be forgiven and be free. And I think that's a phenomenal example. So I'm thankful for that and many other things at Christmas. But those were the thoughts that were on my mind for today. So again, with big thoughts like these, I try to keep it within a certain time frame. So I look forward to hearing again your dialogue and your thoughts on what you think about during the holiday season, and what you find to be the most profound thing about the holiday experience. And that's what I got. Thank you.